Hello students, hope all are doing well. In today's session, let us learn about energy flow in an ecosystem. Before moving into the topic, let us know what is ecosystem. The interactions between the biotic and abiotic factors in a given area constitute an ecosystem. All living organisms of a given environment constitute biotic factors, and all the non-living factors of a given environment constitute abiotic factors. We will understand what is an ecosystem, what is ecosystem structure. The structure of an ecosystem is characterized by the physical organization of biotic and abiotic components. The major structural features of ecosystem are species composition, stratification, trophic organization and nutrients. Now, let us discuss the major structural features of ecosystem one by one. Species composition. Each ecosystem has its own type of species composition. Different ecosystems have different species composition. A great variety of species is found in forest ecosystem, whereas a few species occurs in a desert ecosystem. Stratification. The organisms in each ecosystem form one or more layers or strata, each comprising the population of particular kind of species. In some ecosystems, such as tropical rainforests, the crown of trees, bushes and ground vegetation form different strata and are occupied by different species. On the other hand, desert ecosystem shows a low, discontinuous herb layer consisting of fewer and extensive bare patches of soil. Trophic organization. Food relationships of producers and consumers are another way to depict ecosystem structure. Trophic structure of ecosystem is based on the existence of several trophic levels in the ecosystem. The producers form the first trophic level, that is T1, herbivores the second, that is T2, and carnivores constitute the third, that is T3. So, there may be 2 to 3 levels of carnivores. The top carnivore belongs to T4 or T5 trophic levels. Decomposers form the ultimate or detritus trophic level. Parasites feed upon the organisms of all trophic levels. Therefore, they do not have a fixed trophic level. Similarly, there is no fixed trophic level for omnivorous organisms like man. In an ecosystem, there can be only 4 to 5 successive trophic levels, because all the food available at one trophic level is not eaten by the animals of next trophic level. Some of the food energy is lost in this manner. All the food eaten by animals is not useful. Thus, a good deal of energy containing food is passed out as waste. A large amount of energy is lost in respiration to derive organisms' metabolism, and thus there is not much energy left to support higher trophic levels. Trophic structure may also be described in terms of the amount of living material present in different trophic levels. The amount of the living material present in different trophic levels at a given time is called attending crop. It is commonly expressed as the number or biomass of organisms per unit area. The biomass of a species may be expressed in terms of either fresh or dry weight, but generally dry weight is preferred so that the variations in weight due to seasonal moisture differences in biomass can be avoided. Now, let us study about the significance of nutrients. In each ecosystem, the nutrients necessary for the growth of living organisms or accumulated in the biomass, and the abiotic components like soil. The amount of nutrients such as nitrogen, phosphorus and calcium present in the soil at any given time is termed as standing state. Different ecosystems have different standing state of nutrients. The standing state of nutrients may vary at different time even in the same ecosystem. Now, let us talk about ecosystem function. Ecosystems have some functional attributes which keep the component of parts running together. Each ecosystem possesses a natural tendency to persist. Various functions performed by the structural components of the ecosystem ensure persistence of the system. For instance, green leaves prepare food and roots absorb nutrients from the soil. Herbivores feed on part of the plant production and in turn serve as food for carnivores. Decomposers carry out the function of breaking down complex organic materials into simpler inorganic products, which can be used by the producers. All these functions in the ecosystem occur through delicately balanced and controlled processes. For example, food production in plants is carried out by the process of photosynthesis. Nutrients contained in organic matter are released through the process of decomposition. Knowledge of the rates of different processes at which they occur in the ecosystem is necessary to understand the interrelations, structure and functions of the ecosystem. The major functional attributes of the ecosystem are productivity and decomposition, energy flow, nutrient cycling and development and stabilization. Now, we will discuss and understand major functional attributes of the ecosystem. Productivity. The rate of organic matter or biomass production is called productivity. The productivity of an ecosystem is of two types, primary and secondary. Primary productivity is the rate at which radiant energy is captured by the producers for the synthesis of organic compound through photosynthesis. The primary productivity is further distinguished as gross primary productivity or GPP and net primary productivity or NPP. Net primary productivity is the balance energy or biomass left after meeting the cost of respiration and maintenance of producers. Net primary productivity is equal to gross primary productivity minus loss due to respiration and maintenance. Secondary productivity is the rate of increase in biomass of consumers per unit area and time is called secondary productivity. The tropical rainforests show high levels of net primary productivity, whereas desert exhibit lowest productivity. Decomposition refers to the process by which complex organic materials are broken down by the decomposers to inorganic raw materials like carbon dioxide, water and various nutrients. The upper layer of soil is the main site for decomposition in the ecosystem. Decomposition makes inorganic raw materials available for reutilization by the plants. Energy flow. The functioning of ecosystem depends on the flow of energy through matter. Energy enters the ecosystem from the solar radiations and is converted into chemical form by the producers. From there, the energy passes from one trophic level to the next through food. The flow of energy in the ecosystem is governed by two basic laws of thermodynamics. That is, the first, energy can be neither created nor destroyed. but can be transformed from one state to another or transferred from one component to another. The second law, every transformation or transfer of energy is accompanied by its dispersion. Therefore, 100% transformation of energy from one form to another or transfer from one organism to another is not possible. It is always accompanied by some dispersion or loss of energy in the form of heat. There are two aspects with respect to energy flow in an ecosystem. First, there is unidirectional or one-way flow of energy in an ecosystem, that is, from producers through herbivores to carnivores. The energy cannot be transferred in the reverse direction, that is, the energy that is captured by the autotrophs does not revert back to solar input, or the energy which passes to the herbivores does not pass back to the autotrophs. Second, the amount of energy flow decreases with successive trophic levels. Producers capture only a small fraction of solar energy, and the bulk of utilized energy is dissipated mostly as heat. Part of energy captured in gross production of producers or gross primary production is used for maintenance of their standing crop and for providing food to herbivores. The unutilized net productivity is ultimately converted to detritus, which serves as energy source to decomposers. Thus, energy actually used by the herbivores trophic level is only a small fraction of the energy captured at the producer level. On an average, in different ecosystems, the herbivore assimilation or secondary productivity is approximately 10% of the gross primary productivity or gross productivity of producers. The energy assimilated by the herbivores is used in respiration, and a fraction of unassimilated energy is transferred to decomposers. The herbivore level of either utilized by the carnivores or gets transferred to decomposers after the death of herbivores. In this way, again only a small fraction, that is about 10% of herbivore productivity, is used to support carnivore productivity. In the same way, the energy available at carnivore trophic level is again divided, leaving a very small fraction to support the next trophic level, that is top carnivore. With increasing trophic levels, the respiration cost also increases sharply. On an average, producers consume about 20% of their gross productivity in respiration. The herbivores consume about 30% of assimilated energy in respiration. In carnivores, the proportion of assimilated energy consumed in respiration rises to about 60%. Thus, there is a tremendous loss of energy at successive higher trophic levels. As a result, the residual energy is decreased to such an extent that no further trophic level can be supported. Therefore, there can be 3 to 5 trophic levels in the food chains of an ecosystem. Hope you have got a good insight on the ecosystem, their structure and function. Until we meet again, bye.